Hey everyone, I am Nate and welcome back to Hype Up. It's now time for another top 10 list. We are going to be going through the top 10 mistakes that you might have missed in Disney movies. In at number 10 is Finding Nemo. The beloved character of Dory in the film Finding Nemo can apparently speak fluent whale, although it's unclear whether or not it was her intention to get herself and Marlin swallowed by the whale. During this scene, we see Dory and Marlin inside the whale after being eaten, and there lies the mistake. We see them. Light could not enter inside of a whale regardless of a blowhole and how large it might be, and therefore the scene realistically would take place in pitch black. But I guess in reality, fish don't talk either, so yeah. In at number 9 is Mulan. Mulan is based on the Chinese folklore of the same name and tells the tale of a woman impersonating a man to join the Chinese army and serve in her father's place. In the film, she helps them defeat the Huns, who really did attempt to take China and the emperor at the time. The story takes place sometime between 386 and 538 AD. The problem is, we see the Great Wall of China in the film, which actually didn't exist the way the movie presented it for nearly 1,000 years after the story takes place. In at number 8 is The Lion King. There are actually quite a few continuity errors in the animated movie. I'm not lion. Most of them are pretty minor and too quick to see the first time. One of the more noticeable mistakes in the movie, however, is Nala's constantly changing her eye color. Her eyes appear more prominently green when she's a cub and bluer when she's older. One could argue that they simply change color as she aged, but that doesn't explain the color changes that occur merely scenes apart where Nala is the same age. In at number 7 is The Incredibles. Where's my super suit? Why do you need to know? I can't believe they missed this mistake when editing. How incredibly short-sighted of them. The film is set in an alternative version of the 1960s, which is proven in the scene when Bob is reading a newspaper dated May 16, 1962. However, when Bob is looking at the newspaper clippings on his Wall of Fame, which would have been from the golden age of heroes many years before this, the newspaper title, Incredible Rescue at Sea, is dated 2002. In at number 6 is Monsters, Inc. Mike Wazowski. Put one eye here. One huge eye right here. When creating prequels, there's always the chance of missing something that was created in a character's backstory in the original film. That is the case in the world of Monsters, Inc. In the original film, Monsters, Inc., there is a line exchange between two of the main characters, Mike and Sully. Mike says to Sully, "You've been jealous of me since the 4th grade," which implies that the two are childhood friends. However, in the prequel to the film that was made after Monsters University, the two meet for the first time at university. Whoops! Guess that one slipped through the cracks. In at number 5 is Wreck-It Ralph. It's easy to get so immersed into a video game that it seems like only minutes passed when in reality it's been hours. But Wreck-It Ralph took this concept a little too far. When Ralph decides to jump games in the movie, he begins the futuristic shooter Hero's Duty as soon as the arcade opens for business. When he single-handedly delivers a game over for the player, Ralph climbs the game's tower to claim his own gold medal. Before the soldiers have time to reset for the next round, they're informed that the arcade has closed. So that means the arcade opened and closed within the span of one round of a game? In at number 4 is Frozen. Do you wanna do the snowman? Never seen Frozen. Never seen Frozen. Because I like
good Disney movies.
I'm there when Disney started out, like OG Disney. Frozen is set in a magical world, so as the audience, we expect to see some plot points and effects that are not based in reality. Unfortunately, magic is not enough to make this glaring mistake in Frozen disappear. When Anna and Hans share their first song together, a lighthouse lights up their silhouettes on the sail of a nearby ship. What's impossible to miss is the feet of their shadows somehow hovering in mid-air instead of on top of the walkway they're standing on. It's almost like their shadow versions are frozen in mid-air. In at number 3 is Wow. Nailed it. We'll put subtitles there if you didn't get the reference, but that's what he says. Wow. Mr. Roboto Wally. Spoiler alert, the plot of Wally centers around a distant future where humans have evacuated to space after apparently destroying the Earth, which is now covered in trash. Wow, that's a bit too real. The corporation behind the evacuation, by and large, leaves millions of robotic trash compactors on Earth to clean up in the hopes that one day life can return to the planet along with humanity. Wally is the last of these trash compactors, but there's only one problem. Wally doesn't actually compact trash. Even when completely filling his body with garbage, Wally can only produce a cube the same size as himself. All he's doing is reshaping the trash so the planet will still be covered in trash, but hey, at least it's all stacked nicely. I don't think Pixar wanted us to look too closely at the details. In at number 2 is Beauty and the Beast. At the beginning of the movie, the narrator says that Beast has until his 21st birthday to find someone who loves him for who he is, not how he looks. Otherwise, he will be cursed to stay as a beast forever. During Be Our Guest, Lemire says that they have been under this spell for 10 years. So first off, that means that the enchantress who cursed Beast was pretty horrible considering she cursed a 10-year-old child for not letting a stranger in, but that's not the mistake here. In the film, Beast slashes a portrait of himself showing him as a grown man. Considering the timeline, this portrait cannot exist. Before we reveal what number 1 is, what have you thought of the list so far? Have you seen all of the movies that are on this list? Have you seen the mistakes? Let us know in the comment section down below. But it is now time for number 1. The number 1 Disney movie mistake that you might have missed is Toy Story. Toy Story is one of those classic Disney films that you can't help but love. What possible mistakes could such a lovable film have made? Well, if you think about it, a pretty big plot hole. You see, in the world of Toy Story, toys are sentient, but aware that they are toys and will freeze whenever real people come into the room. In the film, a new toy is introduced who becomes Andy's favorite, Buzz Lightyear. The thing about Buzz though is that for the majority of the film, he doesn't believe he is a toy but a real-life spaceman. So my question is, if he thinks he is real, why does he freeze like the rest of the toys whenever Andy comes in? That is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you like as well as subscribe and check out some of our other videos. I'm Nate, this is Hype Hub, and we'll see you all next time.